What was the biggest nuke you dodged? When I was 19, I met Gale on a dating website when he asked to see me. He'd gone to my high school but graduated 3 years before me, so I only knew him by reputation as the quiet art kid. His profile seemed normal enough, and his messages were actually funny and charming. Our first few dates were at coffee shops where he'd sketch while we talked about movies and music. He seemed sweet and different from the drunk frat boys I'd been avoiding. The first month was actually nice. He'd draw me little cartoons and leave them on my car windshield. He remembered everything I told him about my classes and family drama. He even got along with my roommate, which was rare because she hated everyone I dated. Looking back now, those early days feel like they happened to a different person in a different lifetime. The change started small. He'd get moody if I had to study instead of hanging out. He'd sulk when I went to parties without him, even though he said he hated crowds. Then came the comments about my friends being slutty or my clothes being too revealing. Classic controlling stuff, but I was young and thought jealousy meant he really cared about me. The first real incident happened about 2 months in. We were watching TV at my apartment and I made some joke about the actor being hot. Just a dumb throwaway comment that meant nothing. Gale went silent for like 10 minutes, then suddenly threw the remote at the wall so hard it shattered. He stood up and punched a hole in my bedroom door while screaming that I was a whore who wanted to fuck everyone but him. I should have ended it right there. But he cried and apologized and said his ex had cheated with some actor-looking guy and he'd overreacted. He offered to pay for the door and bought me flowers the next day. I was stupid and stayed. Things got worse when he lost his job at the art supply store. He'd been living off his parents, but they cut him off so suddenly I was paying for everything. He moved into my apartment without really asking and spent all day playing video games while I worked doubles at the restaurant. When I suggested he look for work, he'd flip out about me not supporting his art career that consisted of drawing the same skull over and over. The strangling incident happened 4 months in. He'd finally gotten a job at a warehouse but didn't want to go on his 3rd day. I told him he needed to keep this job or get out of my apartment. He seemed to accept it and got in my car so I could drive him. But at a red light, he suddenly reached over and wrapped his hands around my throat. Not playfully or gently, but actually choking me while I was driving. I managed to pull into a gas station parking lot with his hands still on my neck. When I finally got free and screamed at him, he just said, "Sorry, I blacked out. You shouldn't have pissed me off about the job." Like it was my fault he tried to kill me in broad daylight. That wasn't even the final straw though. I stayed another month because I was terrified of what he'd do if I tried to leave. He'd isolated me from most of my friends by then, and I felt trapped in my own apartment. The only reason I got free was because he started cheating with some girl from his group therapy. When I found out, I pretended to be devastated, but inside I was celebrating. He moved in with her immediately, and I changed my locks the same day. For years, I felt guilty about being relieved he was her problem now. I even thought about warning her, but figured she wouldn't believe me anyway. Then 8 years later, my old roommate sent me a news link with the subject line, "Holy shit, look at this." It was Gale's mugshot. He'd been arrested for murdering his girlfriend, who'd just had his baby. The details were beyond horrific. He'd handcuffed her to their bed and strangled her because he thought she was cheating. Then instead of calling anyone, he'd cut up her body and kept it in their apartment for a month. The neighbors only called cops because of the smell, and because no one had seen her in weeks. The baby survived because Gale had been taking care of it the whole time, while his girlfriend's body was decomposing with bugs in the next room. He'd posted on social media about being a single dad and how hard it was without help, all while her corpse was hidden in garbage bags in their closet. Reading the articles made me physically sick. That could have been me, would have been me if he hadn't found someone else to obsess over. The girl he killed looked a lot like me too. Same brown hair and small build, same age I'd been when we dated. The news said she'd tried to leave him multiple times, but he'd threatened to take the baby. He got life in prison, but I still sleep with one eye open.